experience, chemistry, and long-term strategy. Caitlin Clark is talented. This roster reflects what we believe gives Team USA the strongest chance to compete and win right now.
I've watched Duke play. They shouldn't be this bad in offense. They should not be this bad in offense. Like, she is genuinely she's obviously, look, with the way this team defends, with her experience coaching, she's obviously an exceptional defensive coach. But like, that's why I'm concerned. I don't think Carl Lawson's a bad coach. I think she is maybe the worst offensive coach I've ever seen in basketball.
This isn't mere speculation. It's genuine concern from someone who has been observing Duke basketball under Carl Lawson. Here's why it matters. Lawson is no longer just Duke's head coach. She's now leading Team USA. The same coach who employs an offense that averages 50 points per game against top opponents now has the responsibility of selecting the roster, including deciding whether Caitlin Clark makes the cut. Let's be clear, this isn't about Clark's talent. She's the reigning WNBA Rookie of the Year, led the league in assists with 8.4 per game, and transformed the Indiana Fever from a lottery team into a playoff contender. The real question isn't her skill level, but whether her highly offensive game fits into Carl Lawson's defensive system. Her style might not align with Lawson's emphasis on defense, raising concerns about her fit on the team.
They're just not they're going to fuck it. I have this really strange feeling that they're going to fuck it. That they're going to try to justify it. Like, she's going to be, and we're like, oh, she's on the Team USA team. No, she's in Team USA camp. There's 20 fucking players in that camp. Hey, Ariel Atkins is going to be at that camp. Sonia Citron's going to be at that camp. Do I think they're going to pick Caitlin Clark over Sonia Citron? Man, they picked Jewel Lloyd over Caitlin Clark. They picked an injured player over Caitlin Clark. They literally picked an injured player over her. Like, it is what it is. They picked an injured player over her for the last Olympics.
Duke's offensive struggles under Carl Lawson are well known. In last year's Elite Eight, her team was in a 52-50 game with just 32 seconds left, having scored only 52 points. Such low scoring in a high-stakes tournament game indicates that the issue isn't pressure, but a system that doesn't prioritize offense. In contrast, Caitlin Clark's career at Iowa exemplifies a high-octane, offense-first approach. During her senior year, the Hawkeyes averaged 86.9 points per game, operating in a fast-paced, free-flowing system centered around her playmaking. Clark thrived in transition, peak hand rolls, and drive-and-kick situations with her game built on offensive freedom and pace. Conversely, Carl Lawson's Duke teams focus on grinding possessions, emphasizing half-court defense, often winning in the 60s. Clark has never played in such a system. She is the system. If Duke isn't building around her offensive talents, they risk wasting one of women's basketball's most dynamic offensive players. The contrast highlights the importance of system design, aligning with a star player's strengths for maximum success.
I have to just go and like take the team that's going to win and not the best individual players. And I think if your tactic is you want to win the game in the 60s, Caitlin Clark's not the player for you, and we can all be honest with that. We can say that's a dumb tactic, but if you want to win a game in the 60s, Caitlin Clark's not the player for you. Like, you have enough scoring, and you're just going to go and play full defense maybe? Dump the ball into A'ja Wilson. If you want to run and get out and use the advantage that Stewie and A'ja Wilson have, if you want to go and use the advantage that Copper gets, if you want to use the advantage that Angel Reese is going to bring you on the inside, you go and bring Caitlin Clark. But if you want to win a game in the 60s,
let's examine the point guard competition, as this area presents some complexities. Jackie Young of the Las Vegas Aces has established herself as one of the league's top two-way players. Last season, she averaged 15.8 points and 5.2 assists while providing elite perimeter defense. Alyssa Thomas from the Connecticut Sun is a defensive powerhouse, capable of guarding multiple positions and occasionally running the point. Chelsea Gray, despite being 32 and recovering from injury, offers championship experience and a steady, methodical style that suits a grind-it-out approach. If Kyra Lawson is aiming to build a defensively focused team that wins in the 60s, all three players are more aligned with that strategy than Caitlin Clark. Jackie Young can lock down opposing point guards at an all-defense level, while Alyssa Thomas, a 6'2" nightmare for opponents, averages 2.1 steals per game. Chelsea Gray has been the floor general for 2 WNBA titles, demonstrating her ability to manage low-possession games effectively. Clark, as a rookie, averaged 1.3 steals per game, respectable but not elite, and her defensive rating of 112.3 ranked mid-tier among starting guards. She's not a defensive liability, but she's not the ideal choice if defense is the team's primary focus. The core issue is that if Lawson is constructing a roster centered on a strong defensive identity, Caitlin Clark becomes more of a luxury than a necessity. Her offensive talent is undeniable, but her defensive limitations mean she might not fit into a system prioritizing lockdown defense and gritty, contested games.
Where it's won and lost in the mid-range, and give the other team a puncher's chance of beating you. Because let's be real, if you're trying to win a game in the 60s, all it takes is for the other team to hit a couple of threes and suddenly you've lost. Like, I don't know, if that's your tactic, you might lose, especially because of the standard that France is playing at the minute. And they have so many players, and in fairness, Spain look like they could be tricky enough as well. Australia are always going to be decent. So yeah, look, I think they bring Caitlin Clark, I do, but like, I also have this, the more I watch Duke, and maybe this is just because I'm watching a lot of Duke, I am watching a lot of Duke. I'm just watching them and I'm like,
remember the 2024 Olympics? Caitlin Clark didn't make that roster, despite being arguably the most talked about player in women's basketball. The selection committee prioritized continuity and experience over star power. They chose players who had previous international experience, understood FIBA rules, and fit the defensive schemes they wanted to implement. Here's a key detail many overlook. They picked Derica Hammy over Caitlin Clark. Hammy was battling an Achilles injury at the time and wasn't fully healthy. Yet USA Basketball still selected her for her size, rebounding ability, and defensive versatility. That decision revealed how Team USA evaluates talent. They value fit over fame. Looking ahead to the 2026 World Cup cycle, the coach, Kyra Lawson, has a philosophy centered on defense and a controlled tempo. She's never coached an up-tempo, offense-first system at Duke, nor has she had a player like Caitlin Clark on her roster. There's no indication she's willing to adjust her system to fully utilize Clark's unique skill set. This suggests that despite Clark's offensive talent, her style may not align with the team's strategic priorities under Lawson's coaching.
A Caitlin to Asia. Realistically, who should be on that team? Guarantees. Caitlin, Asia, Stewie, Fee, Aaliyah, Kelsey Mitchell, possibly. Maybe not as much. Aaliyah should be a guarantee. Jackie Young should be a guarantee. And that's it. That's it. But the problem is, like, you're going to bring Angel as a big. You're going to bring... you're probably going to bring... Like, I wouldn't even be that opposed to bringing Citron as a guarantee, as just a glue player. Because, like, she's the best of what she is in the league. But, like, I just have this really weird feeling that in March, she's not going to do great at this Team USA camp. Or not even that she's not going to do great. She's not going to do great in this slow down defensive system, which we can all admit that that's not playing to Caitlin Clark's strengths.
Philosophy. Let's discuss what will happen at the Team USA. Training camp in March. A total of 20 players will be invited, and Caitlin Clark is definitely expected to be among them. Alongside her will be Paige Buchers, who is projected to be the top pick in the 2025 WNBA draft. Also included will be Sonia Citron from Notre Dame, recognized as one of the best glue players in college basketball. In addition, every veteran who has been part of the national team program for years will likely be present. With only 12 roster spots available, 8 players will be cut. This is where the concerns about style and fit come into sharper focus. If Coach Kara Lawson runs her Duke-style defensive system during the scrimmages, Caitlin Clark's strengths might not stand out. She may struggle in a slow-paced half-court setting where possessions are limited. And defensive rotations are critical. Her game doesn't naturally translate to that environment. Conversely, players like Alyssa Thomas will look exceptional getting deflections, pushing the ball in transition after stops, and making simple passes in half-court sets. Jackie Young will be locking down opposing guards and hitting mid-range jumpers seamlessly within the flow of the offense. These players align better with Lawson's defensive-focused approach. Ultimately, when it's time to make final cuts, fit and tactical compatibility will matter more than raw talent alone.
Jackie Young's actually better in this system, and we need Chelsea Gray for vet leadership. I have this really weird feeling she's not going to make the team. Do I have any evidence to back it up? No, I've just been watching a Kara Lawson coach team. I've been watching a Kara Lawson coach team, and I'm literally sitting there like, this is vomit basketball. This is one of the worst things that I've ever watched. And I watched Duke last year, and like, other than Toby Fournier, who at times was a little bit of an exciting player, I was like, this is unwatchable. And that like, they were awful to watch. They were absolutely awful to watch last year. They're even worse to watch this year, and they're meant to be good. Like, they are meant to be good, and they're just, if nothing else, even if you want to say Duke aren't that bad, they're boring as fuck. And I think we can all come to an agreement in a slow down, boring play style. Would you rather have Alyssa Thomas?
The international game differs significantly from the WNBA. The three-point line is closer, which should favor shooters like Clark, but the game is also more physical, with less protection for perimeter players from officials. Post play is more emphasized, and transition opportunities are limited because international teams are disciplined about getting back on defense. France has been developing their program for years, boasting size, skill, and experience playing together in FIA competitions. Spain is emerging as a serious contender, with versatile forwards capable of stretching the floor and defending multiple positions. Australia consistently displays toughness and tactical discipline. These teams can't be simply outscored through fast-paced defense. They excel in physicality and structured play. Coach Kara Lawson might believe that winning the World Cup hinges on defensive intensity and controlling possessions, which could be a valid approach. While the US has the most talented roster on paper, the gap in international basketball has narrowed. You can no longer expect to win easily by just running and gunning. A coherent system, clear defensive communication, and players committed to a specific style are essential. The key question is whether Caitlin Clark fits within that system, or if she needs the team to adapt around her to maximize her effectiveness from different roles on the floor.
Like, they do, but like, they also don't. They do and they don't. But yeah, it's an interesting one all around. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think it's a guarantee? I think if the coach was an offensive coach, it would be a guarantee. I think it would be a guarantee that she starts. I think the likelihood is that she starts. I think it's more likely that Caitlin Clark doesn't make the team, that she comes off the bench. I think if a coach wants to bring Caitlin Clark's your point guard. If a coach doesn't want...
Let's talk about the guaranteed roster spots, because the context really matters. A few players are clearly locks to make the team. Sylvia Fowles is a lock, being a dominant presence in the paint and a proven winner. Breena Stewart is also a lock. She's the two-time MVP, arguably the best player in the world and the focal point of any Team USA offense. Diana Taurasi is another certainty, given her veteran leadership and scoring ability. Chelsea Gray's experience as a floor general and playmaker makes her a strong candidate. Nika Ogwumik's versatility and inside-out game give her a solid spot. That's 5 players who are essentially guaranteed before camp even begins. If we include Alyssa Thomas, who provides elite defense and rebounding, that's 6. Kelsey Mitchell might have an outside shot based on her scoring, but her spot isn't guaranteed. It's more uncertain. This leaves about 6 or 7 spots open for the remaining contenders where competition is fierce. Players like Angel Reese could earn a spot as a rebounding specialist, while Alyssa Thomas could secure her place as a defensive anchor. Jackie Young adds two-way versatility. Sonia Citron offers energy and grit. And veteran Chelsea Gray brings leadership at the point guard position. Caitlin Clark is a wild card. She's fighting to fit into Kara Lawson's system, and her inclusion could go either way. Some believe she could be the guaranteed starting point guard, given her talent. But others think she might not make the final roster at all. In summary, the roster is shaping up to be a mix of established stars with guaranteed spots and a handful of highly competitive spots that will be decided during training camp and evaluations. What makes this situation particularly complex is the high stakes involved with Caitlin Clark's potential inclusion. If she makes the roster, she's almost certainly going to start. You don't bring the WNBA's assist leader, the player who has revolutionized the league's popularity, and then have her come off the bench. That would be a public relations nightmare and a significant misallocation of her talents. Caitlin Clark isn't a role player or someone who excels in limited minutes with a specific defensive assignment. She's a system player in many ways. She is the system. At Iowa, everything revolved around her, with the offense running through her hands. During her time with the Fever, she was constantly orchestrating the attack, creating advantages in transition and finding shooters in the corners to maximize her value. You give her the keys to the offense and let her control the pace. But what if Kara Lawson doesn't want to play that way? What if she prefers Jackie Young to start at point guard? Young is known for her defensive ability and the versatility to guard the opponent's best perimeter player. Or what if Lawson wants to slow the game down, focus on feeding the post to A'ja Wilson, and prioritize limiting possessions and winning through defense? If her philosophy is built around controlled tempo and defensive stops, Caitlin Clark's style might not fit at all. In that scenario, she wouldn't just be a bench player. She might not even make the roster because her game doesn't align with the team's strategic approach. This is the uncomfortable reality. It's not about whether Caitlin Clark is talented enough for Team USA. It's about whether her fit within Kara Lawson's system makes her a viable option. Based on what we've seen from Lawson's approach, especially her emphasis on defense and controlling the pace, there's a real possibility the answer could be no. Think about the optics of such a decision. Caitlin Clark, arguably the most popular player in women's basketball, the one who has drawn millions of new fans to the WNBA, could be left off the World Cup roster. The backlash from fans, media, and players alike would be immediate and intense. However, USA Basketball has historically prioritized winning and fit over popularity. They've shown they're willing to make tough decisions when it comes to roster construction. In past tournaments, we've seen this play out. During the Olympics, USA left off players who didn't fit the team's strategic needs. Despite the media firestorm that followed, the team stuck to their principles, emphasizing experience, system fit, and defensive strength, and ultimately won gold. That victory validated their approach. Even if it wasn't popular in the short term, the World Cup presents a different set of stakes, but the philosophy remains consistent. If Kara Lawson truly believes she can win without Caitlin Clark by focusing on defense and a controlled game, she might make the decision to leave her off the roster. It's a difficult choice, but it reflects the core of what USA Basketball has prioritized. Historically, winning through a system that's designed for success. Not necessarily star power or popularity. USA Basketball will select its 12-player roster based on who they believe offers the best chance to win, regardless of star power or popularity. Head coach Kara Lawson will evaluate her options carefully. If she finds that players like Jackie Young, Alyssa Thomas, and Chelsea Gray provide better defensive versatility and fit their system more effectively than Caitlin Clark, she will make that decision. The upcoming training camp in March will be crucial for these choices. Observers should pay close attention to how Lawson structures the scrimmages, whether she prioritizes fast-paced transition play or emphasizes half-court execution. Additionally, noting how much freedom she grants point guards versus how much she demands they run set plays will be telling. If the camp resembles a Duke practice focusing on defensive rotations and controlled possessions, it could signal a lack of confidence in Clark's fit. Conversely, a more free-flowing camp emphasizing pace and playmaking might suggest Clark has a chance. However, based on Lawson's coaching style, the likely scenario is the former. Analysts and beat reporters who follow these developments are noticing warning signs. They observe Duke's games and cringe at offensive struggles, as well as scrutinize the roster construction, especially the crowded point guard position filled with players better suited for a defensive-first system than Clark. This situation isn't about Caitlin Clark's talent. She is undoubtedly one of the top 5 players in the WNBA today, but about how her playing style aligns with the system Lawson prefers. Lawson's coaching philosophy has never favored building around an offensive-minded point guard who needs the ball to be effective. If Clark doesn't make the team, the fallout could be immense. Fans and media would likely erupt in outrage, and sponsors might worry about losing the star power Clark brings. Yet USA Basketball would stand firm, citing their history of winning gold medals and emphasizing that they selected the team with the best chance to succeed. They might argue that a defense-oriented squad, anchored by players like A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and a collection of two-way specialists, offers the best path to gold. Ultimately, the decision will reflect their strategic priorities, whether they favor star power or systemic fit and how well Clark's style meshes with the team's envisioned identity. USA Basketball will select its 12-player roster based on who they believe offers the best chance to win, regardless of star power or popularity. Head coach Kara Lawson will evaluate her options carefully. If she finds that players like Jackie Young, Alyssa Thomas, and Chelsea Gray provide better defensive versatility and fit their system more effectively than Caitlin Clark, she will make that decision. The upcoming training camp in March will be crucial for these choices. Observers should pay close attention to how Lawson structures the scrimmages, whether she prioritizes fast-paced transition play or emphasizes half-court execution. Additionally, noting how much freedom she grants point guards versus how much she demands they run set plays will be telling. If the camp resembles a Duke practice focusing on defensive rotations and controlled possessions, it could signal a lack of confidence in Clark's fit. Conversely, a more free-flowing camp emphasizing pace and playmaking might suggest Clark has a chance. However, based on Lawson's coaching style, the likely scenario is the former. Analysts and beat reporters who follow these developments are noticing warning signs. They observe Duke's games and cringe at offensive struggles, as well as scrutinize the roster construction, especially the crowded point guard position filled with players better suited for a defensive-first system than Clark. This situation isn't about Caitlin Clark's talent. She is undoubtedly one of the top 5 players in the WNBA today, but about how her playing style aligns with the system Lawson prefers. Lawson's coaching philosophy has never favored building around an offensive-minded point guard who needs the ball to be effective. If Clark doesn't make the team, the fallout could be immense. Fans and media would likely erupt in outrage, and sponsors might worry about losing the star power Clark brings. Yet USA Basketball would stand firm, citing their history of winning gold medals and emphasizing that they selected the team with the best chance to succeed. They might argue that a defense-oriented squad anchored by players like A'ja Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and a collection of two-way specialists offers the best path to gold. Ultimately, the decision will reflect their strategic priorities, whether they favor star power or systemic fit hand, how well Clark's style meshes with the team's envisioned identity. Perhaps Caitlin Clark's offensive brilliance isn't as impactful in international play, where the game tends to be slower, more physical, and focused on system cohesion. On the other hand, leaving her off the roster could be a costly mistake that hampers Team USA's chances of clinching gold, especially if they struggle to generate offense in tight situations. Clark's ability to create scoring out of nothing is rare, and losing that weapon might leave the team without a crucial edge. We won't know for sure until March, when the team is officially named. However, warning signs are evident. Her playing style doesn't fully align with the coaching philosophy, and the point guard spot is heavily stocked with defensive-oriented players. Historically, USA Basketball has prioritized team fit over individual fame, often choosing players who complement the system over the most famous names. If you're a Caitlin Clark supporter, it's understandable to feel anxious. It's not about her talent, she's one of the best in the world, but whether the coaching staff values her unique skill set. In international competitions where team chemistry and system play are paramount, that difference could mean the difference between a medal and missing out. So, is Kara Lawson making a mistake by potentially leaving Clark off the roster? Or is prioritizing a defensive-first approach the right strategy? Share your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and let's see how this unfolds come March.